What is up, everybody? Brandon Golden here with the Ghost Carolina Performance Podcast. Super excited to have on here Craig Duggan. He's going to be our full-time physical therapist here at the lab. Welcome, Craig. Super excited to have you, man. So as we get
Thanks
right,
for having me, Brandon.
yeah, man, of course, super excited to have you. Just want to talk about our sponsors a little bit. ISOFIT and Output. We've been crushing with Output. That's how we do a lot of our testing. That's how I do that with some of our collegiate teams that we work with as well. Just seeing where things are at, using it on the VBT side, mobility, stability, overall strength and power. Also, we have ISOFIT now here in the lab, and that has made a huge difference in just the way we're able to put people in various positions to add strength. Obviously, Craig, we'll jump into the isometric stuff here in a little bit, but I'm excited for you to get in here. You get your hands on that as well. But we can't thank you guys enough at Output and ISOFIT for sponsoring the podcast. So, with that, guys, Craig Duggan here. Craig, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with physical therapy.
I've been a physical therapist now for going on 13 years. I was an athletic trainer for about 2 to 3 years before that, working at the collegiate level. Basically, my interest came into overhead athletes. I was a baseball player all the way up through college. But when I was 12 years old, I actually had a throwing injury to my elbow and had to go through some rehab for that, and just fell in love with it. Knew exactly this is where I wanted to be, as soon as I saw it. So had a really good mentor from there, and here we are.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So we're excited to have you. You and I have had some really cool conversations. What made you want to join us in the lab?
Oh man, so Ghost Lab. I mean, when I came in and checked it out, we had that great conversation, Brandon, and I knew right there, and we were aligned. Knew that we had some of the same mindset, some of the same ideas, and it's gonna be something cool. I mean, as I've come up through physical therapy, I've had a lot of cool mentors with Mike Reinold and Eric Cressy and all those guys, Kevin Wilk, and as soon as I saw Ghost Lab, I thought, man, this is our chance to do something, that kind of follows in their footsteps of what they've created and what they've been able to do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all the chances that we have, all the opportunities that we have, and things we can do to really kind of reduce injury in the sport and bring people up to their max performance.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. Mike and Eric are good dudes. When I was a graduate assistant up at St. John's, I got to go up to Eric's place in Massachusetts and spend some time and do the upper body mentorship. And that's where I learned a lot about how to train overhead athletes and how to train baseball players specifically. And even Eric Schoenberg, who's I think down in Florida with those guys now, like just understanding the way they look at things. And it's been a huge impact on myself and my career as well. And tell the listeners just a little bit about some of the services that you'll provide, and then we'll kind of we'll piggyback off that after we do that, and then talk about how you and I will kind of collaborate as well.
Yeah, that's good. So, I mean, we'll be full service. So, basically, everything you can think of physical therapy, you will offer there at the Ghost Lab, and obviously with a sports focus. So, you'll be with like-minded athletes and everything else when you're in there with the Ghost Lab. It won't be kind of a general population. As far as the services we provide, it'll be cupping. We can do stretching. We can do your kinesiotaping. We can do any kind of your hands-on massage, Graston type stuff, ISTM type stuff. And then, of course, we'll do anything I can as far as if there is an injury, if we need to rehab through that, we can go through all that. I've got a wide network of doctors in the area, and surgeons in the area. So, if there's something where we need a referral to, we can get on the horn and get that done pretty quickly. As I want people to know that this isn't just about when you're hurt, right? So this is the benefit that we offer to the Ghost Lab is keeping your kids out of pain, right? So, I mean, keeping you guys away from injury. Baseball is a tough sport, and with all the repetitive motions and stresses and torques, it's always good to have someone on your side who can help keep that body in peak performance. So we're not here just for when you are hurt. We're here to keep you away from being hurt as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I've seen that at the highest level in professional baseball, and just the way I worked with Brian Yoshida and some of the physical therapists there with the Dodgers. He runs Armored Heat, and he does a great job. But just being able to collaborate with him and do some different things, Craig, that's what I'm excited about you and I, that we're going to be able to collaborate and bounce ideas off just like we have with a few players here already, and just say, hey, this is what I'm used to doing. This is my comfort zone, and being able to talk about different things and making sure we're on the same page. And again, it gives us a checks and balances. We've been around the block a time or two, but we all have the things that are biases and that we're our blind spots. So having somebody like you that I can bounce ideas off of, literally I can just open my door and say, "Hey, Craig, what you got?" And you're right there in the other office. Like, it's super awesome, man. We're super excited about it. And then yeah, like on the rehab side of things. I mean, I did a lot of stuff with the minor league rehab guys, and obviously in college baseball as a strength coach, like it's you and the athletic trainer and rarely physical therapist, but at times physical therapists would jump in there. So we're going to be able to rehab guys, get guys better, collaborate on things just to make this probably one of the best performance centers in the state, and it's going to be a pretty fun ride. Talk, yeah, me too, man. Talk a little bit about like just your thought processes and your philosophies on performance, and like what are some things that are important to you, like for an athlete. Like if you were like if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, Craig, like you're down hanging out at the lake at your family. Somebody runs into you this weekend and they're like, "Hey, what do you got? Like, what does a baseball player need to be successful?"
I mean, that's so multifaceted. I mean, performance, there's so many different things that go into performance, right? And I mean, missing one aspect of that performance can just totally derail everything, right? So it's such a multifaceted approach for sure. But I mean, obviously, you got to have the strength and conditioning side of things. You've got to have the rehab and taking care of your body. That recovery aspect is so huge, right? And not just because I'm obviously vested in that, but and a little bit biased towards that, but just because I think that's one of the things that gets overlooked at the most, especially in youth athletes. We just tend to totally skip over that recovery piece. Just hey, they're young, they're good, they'll be fine. So that recovery piece, I think, is huge. Then you've got like your sleep, your nutrition, your hydration. I mean, there's so much. But overall, I mean, if we put it all, the biggest thing in a nutshell is just education, right? And especially at the younger ages, you don't know what you don't know, right? And so a lot of times, when we look back, I mean, it's funny when I get around like some of my old teammates and everything, we talk about like, man, had we only known this, when we went through. So being able to tap into those resources and learn from people who've already been there or people who have become experts in the field, so beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Let's talk a little bit about like some of your experiences like working with the Rockers and just some different players. What are some things that you've seen at the professional level? And I guess what other sports are you working with that you want to make sure people understand?
Yeah, I mean, I've been really lucky throughout my career. I mean, with all 13 years, I've worked with professional athletes for the most part in college through that collaboration with my athletic trainers that I've been linked up with. So I've had some Olympians. I mean, it's been a really cool ride. But through all that, the sports I've worked with are wide ranging from lacrosse to rugby to soccer to football to baseball, basketball, football. I mean, obviously, hockey is a big one for me being from up north. So we've worked with it all. This year, I had the opportunity to work with a couple of Olympic figure skaters, which was fun. So yeah, we've been everywhere, man. The Rockers, I linked up with the Rockers last year, working with their athletic trainer and just trying to provide that rehab piece that they didn't have and give them kind of a good solid piece for someone who had the experience with the sport, because as we all know, rehab with a baseball athlete is totally different than rehab with just a normal patient. So things change dramatically. So I was able to link up with them and kind of do some on the field stuff. But then we also kind of fell in love with me coming over there on Fridays before game time and just being with the guys in the locker room and hanging out and, hey, what do you need? Is something I can do for you? And just little things like that. And I think that's what kind of where I got the idea that something like this, working with you, Brandon. I mean, it's going to be great. I mean, it's going to be awesome. It's more than just the rehab piece. It's the whole piece, right? So the
Yeah.
whole performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then for our team, so we have 13 teams out of here as well. So like what would you say to some of our parents and I guess younger athletes? We have 9U all the way up to 17U. What would you say would be a beneficial what do you want them to know about you and what would be some beneficial things for them to understand about the new offerings we're having here at the lab with you coming on?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I want you guys to know is that I'm here for you. So I mean, if you guys need something, anything, reach out to me. We've got our number on the website. That's my personal cell phone number. So I mean, I am available, and I want to be available to everybody. So we're doing this for the right reasons. And then on top of that, the clinic's a little bit different than your typical model. So you'll see new clinics are really going to this cash-based model, and it helps us get out of some of the issues that we're dealing with in the medical field as far as insurance goes. Too often we see right now where athletes are given 5 visits. So recently I had a post-op ACL, and she was given 5 visits post-op ACL. That's something that's typically a year-long rehab. I mean, 5 visits, that's just, it's criminal. So, part of me going to this idea is to help athletes get out of that. I don't want to see athletes suffer because they've had an injury and essentially lose their career over something that should be easily rehabbed through. So this precision will be a cash-based model. But when you look at it, you'll pay there at the time of the visit, but just know that other than with Medicare and Medicaid, you'll actually be able to reimburse yourself through your insurance. So you'll actually get a bill at the end. You can submit that to your insurance, and it's reimbursable through your insurance. When you see that, but yeah, just know that I'm here for you. I mean, and again, I've got a lot of experience with athletes at all levels, and especially with baseball with overhead throwing. So it's all for you guys.
That's awesome, man. That's really good to know. I didn't know that about the insurance, being able to go back there and submit it.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I think that's going to be a lot of questions people have is, hey, how's Craig going to take the financial side? And that's great. So there should be no barrier to entry there. You can pay cash and then just go back and resubmit it, and they'll reimburse you guys. That's outstanding, man. Well, what's one thing that you said, like, so you talked about like your vision and how we're going to be able to build this. I guess what is your vision for your side of the house here at the lab?
Man, I mean, I'd love to blow it up, kind of, again, following in those footsteps of like Mike Reinold and Kevin Wilk and all these guys who've really like blazed the trail in front of us, right? So, I mean, that's what we want to do. We want to create something like that where, we've got multiple specialists that are all back there, so we can really offer a wide range. Like you said, let's blow it up. Let's make it state level. Let's make it national, right? That's kind of my thoughts. Now, with that, I'd also like to collaborate, and I think this is where we're going to really stand out is collaborating with research to not just have an effect here on the local population, but also, I mean, let's make it national, right? Let's make this something where we can do some research into the field of baseball and really change things. Return to sport protocols for upper extremity are laughable at best. I mean, there's really nothing out there that's got any kind of scientific backing that's halfway decent. So, I mean, that's something that we can definitely bring to the table if we can link up and kind of go through some of that stuff and really create a battery to make sure that when our athletes are coming back, they're ready to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's countless times where, and I know you deal with this all the time, but the little league elbow, the little league shoulder, and why does that happen? And I had Casey Mulholland, who has a facility down in Florida. He's really big on workload management and stuff like that, and that's exactly what it is. Like it's an acute spike in workload that the athlete wasn't ready for, and that's where it comes from. So being able to make sure, to your point a minute ago about taking care of these guys on the front end. And that's what I want to be able to give our guys like throwing programs. I want to be able to give our guys like high level access to me, to you, to just the overall development. Even if they're 10 years old, if they're 17 years old, if they're 21 in the big leagues, whatever the case may be, like we want our guys and our players and our girls to have like whatever resource they need. And I think that's a huge piece of you coming in is to be able to assist me with that. So, I've written throwing programs, I've been able to do stuff, but as you know, and you will soon to learn to know as you're running your own business, like there's a lot of hats that we all have to wear. And, with you and I, with Macon, with Dom, with DJ, Austin, all the great people, Garrett Saylor, like all the awesome people we have here in the lab, like we're going to be able to do a lot of really cool things together and collaborate to provide a really cool environment for our players.
I'm excited. Well, and I want you guys to know too that we're growing, obviously. So we're building up there, but we're going to build it up the right way. Unlike a lot of PT clinics you'll see in the area, we're not doubling. We're not throwing you on ice for 20 minutes. Just to get you in the clinic and bill you stuff. I mean, this is going to be all hands-on, again, specialist-driven care. So let's do it.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Is there any last little words you want to give the folks before we get off here?
No, I mean, like I said, reach out, see what we can do for you. Even if it's something where we just bring you in and get you a program, get you started with something, or take a look at something for you and see if it's something that needs to go somewhere else. Reach out, talk to me. Let's try and keep you away from Dr. Google as much as possible.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, especially with our ability. I mean, we have the motion capture here. We have TrackMan. We have hit tracks. We can do the baseball evaluations. We can do the movement assessments. You can take them through your assessment. There's a lot of different things that we can do here for you guys. So if there is an issue, if there is something that you're wondering about, I mean, the summer's coming up for you high school guys, college guys that are trying to find places to go. If you're a JUCO guy, guys that are potentially getting ready for the draft and the combine, like there's a lot of different things that we can do to help. Just reach out, let us know what we can do, and we'll get you rocking and rolling.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, Craig, thanks, man, for jumping on. I hope you enjoy your weekend down there and stay safe, man.
Of course, man, always. Water skiing with 2 feet only.
There we go. I love it. I love it. Well, thanks again for coming on, man.
Thank you, Brandon. See you soon.
See you, man.